is doing the split push.
Exactly, exactly, and that is the danger of the mashup pick. They know this. Impunity KH, they've read this.
Yeah.
They know that they will pull off the Chango. They know that they will go for the split because of the Masha. They immediately banned the Claude. But again, not enough firepower for them. Plus AC just pushing them
Yeah.
after the immediate burst.
Yeah, I really like if if you actually think about their lineup, it's really annoying to play against.
Yes.
Like for example, you have the Hylos in front, you have the Chango in there, then you have the pushback, the knockback coming out from the Valier.
Yep.
We will see the highlights of game number 1, and you're gonna see how well mastered the lineup, the execution is coming up from EVOS Esports SG. What am I trying to talk about? I was saying that whenever they go for the kills, it's okay if they only get 1 kill and just back out from that point. Like this, I think they will disengage right after.
Yeah.
They know that they don't have the necessary skills anymore, and so they are disciplined enough to back out from the fight.
And looking at these highlights we are seeing, if you look at the minimap, there is Soul. Soul is just finding his soul in the top lane and just pushing out towers. Meanwhile, Team Impunity KH, they're looking for fights. They're forcing out fights. But man, they're failing because due to this Hylos, and plus of course Team EVOS SG, like what you've said, they mastered the strategy. But again, in terms of push, in terms of tower kills, Impunity KH is very slow in taking towers as well.
Oh yeah, there will be a mistake here from Impunity KH. I think we're gonna see it pretty soon. We're gonna see them overcommit to a Hylos play. Down the bottom though, this is Soul finding kill on the Thames, but will not be able to do so. Valier with a very nice take of the Lord this time. Just really nice timing from the rest of EVOS SG. And this is the fight where instead of a 4v5 favoring Impunity KH, is actually is a 5v4 favoring EVOS SG. Because that was the only time where the Masha actually was included in the fight.
Yeah.
And when that happened, the Masha already shoved the bottom lane so that the Thams will have to take care of it.
Yeah.
That meant that as a result, the Masha is there in the fight around the Lord and the Thams is not.
It's not. And the plan was the misconception and misdirection for EVOS SG.
It's all about misdirection, man.
It's all about the misdirection right there. What is the strategy for Impunity KH to pull off right now? I do feel that they need to ban the high loss or probably the Masha pick. They do have the Baksha, but I think Baksha is like Kaja in a way. When you pull off a stun, you need immediate burst, you need immediate damage, and then afterwards you go for push.
No.
But without that, man, clearly there's the pressure coming in from EVOS SG.
I will honestly say that in other regions, this Basha pick actually counters the Masha and Chango pretty well. I've seen it perform extremely good in the Philippines, for example, because, again, if you don't know, guys, we were from the Philippines. And what they do with the Chango and the Masha is available is to take the Basha, make sure when the Lolita is not available, you go for the Basha, it works. But only when you force the team fights.
Yeah.
What happened there was that EVOS Esports SG, they know that they cannot fight when the Basha is available, so that they only fight when the ultimates are already committed. They put the Hylos in front to burn out the resources from their opponents and then take the fight from there.
And after that, Team EVOS SG, they're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, they know that, okay, the skills are on cooldown. Okay, let's go out. Let's just confuse them. And then Soul go for the push. The Tabs will just go in the top lane, match up with Soul, and then they will not fight.
I'm sorry.
A low-scoring game.
Yeah, you know what? In this game, it's not Soul searching. It's searching for Soul.
Searching for Soul.
Where is Soul gonna come from? Is he gonna go from the top lane onto the bottom lane? They are overreacting to the movements of Soul.
Yeah.
That in the end, Impunity KH, they actually trail behind in terms of manpower because Thams has been chasing where Soul is from time and time again.
And this is the reason why we do have a strong Masha high loss meta right now.
Definitely.
The sustained meta is now all over. The Estes and the Rafaela heals.
Yeah.
It's not working anymore because teams, they don't want this long drawn team fights.
Yeah, they don't want it. They want to go for the burst, right? Immediate burst.
They want to go for the immediate burst and they want to go for objectives right now. So I do feel that Impunity KH need to go back to the drawing board and like, so if they're gonna use the Masha, let's just not let's just not search for soul.
Yeah.
Let's just let soul be.
Oh,
And probably fight fire with fire. They do have they can pull up the Cho. Cho is a good split pusher. Tams can go for the split push as well.
yeah.
But there is the threat of the meteor shower every time you push.
Yeah.
So like
I guess the idea here is if the right approach here is, yeah, it's true. Let Soul do what he does, or let Soul react to what you're doing. So instead of you reacting to your split pushing Masha, you have to be the one who is proactive so that you can force Masha out of his comfort zone.
but they are actually doing it.
Mhm.
In the bottom side of the lane, 4 heroes rotating just to get the Chango.
Mhm.
But Chango, like we've said, that long range meteor shower, he doesn't even need to be in
Yeah.
lane to get the gold
Yeah.
and get all the experience that
Yeah.
she needs.
Well, unfortunately, that was a very nice lineup coming up from EVOS Esports SG. You have to also take note that even when they have the Masha, they will have to take care of the Hyla. So, in the end, I think for Impunity KH, they can only give away one. It's going to be the Hamasha. It's going to be the Hylos. Do not give them both of those heroes because, EVOS Esports SG, they're going to jump and get those
Yeah.
heroes as soon as they can. Now we hop into the draft
Let's
for game number 2, EVOS Esports SG versus Impunity KH.
What is the plan for Immunity KH? But of course, catch every battle, stream like Cray, get unlimited data for all apps with Giller Unlimited GX30 only with you mobile. EVOS SG immediately banning the Lolita. So again, the Chango is open for the taking. They do sometimes pull off the Granger Chango.
Your team.
Meanwhile, Team Impunity KH, they will ban out the X-Boy.
Well, it's Export. That's one of I would say that he's the hero that will never see the light of day in M1.
Yeah.
At the very least, in terms of picks,
High rate.
I think as well as the Grok. Although Grok has been picked already, it's not the top tier bad. It's one of the most picked and banned for sure. I'm 100% sure that Grok, as well as the Hylos, as well as the Xborg, will get 100% pick and ban rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what is the answer coming in from Team EVOS SG. They are taking their time and banning out their second ban.
Mhm.
3 seconds left. What kind of strategy will they pull off? Okay, that
Your
is a
team
safe
is
ban
banning.
for the Cupra, deleting the early game crowd control and the catch that the Cupra has if they will pull off another high loss play.
Yeah. There should be a Grok here for Impunity KH or a Masha or Hylos. Then again, I think that this is the favorable pick here for Impunity KH. Getting second pick instead of the first pick. Getting the red side instead of the blue side.
Yes.
Why do I say this? Because they can ban out either the Grok this time, and then give away Harit, perhaps for EVOS SG, or a Hylos, or a Masha. But the idea is EVOS SG can only get one. And if ever that happens, Impunity
Your
KH,
team
they
is
can just
picking.
go for the 2 picks. Now, I think that they're baiting out EVOS SG to get the Harit this time, and then they themselves will get the Hylos.
They will get the
Your
high loss
team
or
is
probably the
picking.
Masha, but that is the Grok opening for EVOS SG. Quite safe. They have the jungle invade in their favor right now because of the shields of this Grok. What is the opening for Impunity KH? The Cho is open. The Harriet is open. But they will counter
Kaja.
the Grok
Your team
with
is
the carry
picking.
through damage and the Kaja pick
yeah.
off here.
So here's the shift in the focus of Impunity KH. Instead of going for the cheeky Hylos type of compositions, knowing that that EVOS SG already picked up the Grok, they will say, now we're gonna have the chance to get the Hylos third pick. Because we have to prioritize getting the carry and the Kaja this time because it is the answer to the Grok. Nevertheless, they're also not scared of the Hylos because they still have the carry.
Yeah.
Then again, EVOS Esports SG, they say, you cannot mess with 2 of the best tanks already in our season. I would say.
Movement speed and sustainability
Your
is the
team
power,
picking.
is the answer of EVOS SG to the true damage and the crowd control of this divine judgment coming in from the Kajan. Like what you've said, there is the Harriet pick. So we can immediately see for EVOS SG what type of composition that they are having. That is
Your team
actually
is
a good
banned.
answer, a good response for Impunity KH. Whenever there is the Zaman Force and the Glorious Pathway, that is an easy target practice for the Chang'o.
Ah, Chang'o is, I would say, the rookie of the year or rookie of the season.
The rookie hero of the season.
Rookie hero of the season. Oh, actually no, the most improved player, I
The-
would say,
yeah.
of the season. You know, Chang'o,
The most improved
hero of the season.
of the season.
Well, you know, we're saying many things about the Chang'o. If you look back 2 months ago, you might say that Chang'o is a very hard hero to pull off. It's only a pop type of hero, but now we are seeing, because of the fact that teams have adjusted to it, Chang'o
Your
is
team
a
is
very good
banned.
hero in terms of taking objectives,
Yes.
taking the jungle camps, like invading against your opponents because of the meteor shower. Well, before I finish, the Chang'o is a very good objective taker, not because
Your team is
she can
picking.
hit towers hard, but
Here,
yes.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess in Mobile Legends.
Well, there's Moskov, but you
yeah.
know.
Yeah, there's Moscow, but man, you cannot actually spam out
Yeah, they cannot,
waves
they cannot.
with that ultimate. Okay, there is the Akai ban for a team EVOS SG, which counters the Harriet um, with that Hurricane Dance. And again, another Claude ban for Impunity KH. That is Tams for Impunity KH. Added sustainability for their team and serves as a cover-up for this Shango Ultimate. But
Wow.
this is
Team
very
Badang.
interesting. Something new from
Your
EVOS
team
SG.
is
Batang
picking.
as their side laner and Kimi as their main core hero.
This is very scary for Impunity KH. So then you have the Hylos and the Kimi combination, or or a Grok plus Kimi, whichever way EVOS SG wants to pair this up,
Wow.
because they can go for so much pressure on the lanes with this Kimi. Because Impunity KH, they have to react to this. This is no longer a mashup pick where they will split push. This is a Kimi
They will
lineup where they will siege
Yep.
so hard that you have to react to them. Badang is gonna be there for additional utility and additional damage courtesy of the ultimate. And of course the wall that he can bring with him, it actually combos well with the Hylos because of the Glorious Pathway, and then you also have the Grok with the Guardian's Barrier potentially.
They will siege and they will fight. That is the gameplay for the side of EVOS SG. Meanwhile, they answer it out with a Valier pushback.
Yeah.
To counter the siege like that, like what you're saying. But man, Badang right now is not winning, as I've
Yeah,
noticed for the previous games.
it's not the
Low win rate.
yeah, very low win rate for
Yeah.
this day, I would say. But I can see how Badang can work in this lineup, right? Because the Badang can clear out the minion waves also very quickly. But unlike a Masha or unlike a Cho or maybe a Thams, he does not stay in lane. He wants to
Yeah.
clear the minion wave as soon as possible, then participate in the team fights.
Participate
This
in the-
time, there's a lot of impact, I would say, from the Badang just because of the wall in there that can combo with the Grok or the Hylos or the Kimi.
or the Kimi.
And then you have the damage as well from the ultimate.
Layering of skills for the side of EVOS SG. But as I say this, I do feel that Impunity KH, they responded to the draft of EVOS SG. So it looks like EVOS SG was in the driver's seat because of that Kimi and that Badang quick
Yeah,
pick
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like, for example, the Grok has been picked
has
first.
been picked, yes.
And then they kind of have to. They were forced to actually pick the carry and the Kaja because
As
again,
an answer to the Grok.
answer to the Grok, and they thought that the Hylos will no longer be picked by EVOS Esports SG, but EVOS SG says we can double dip into this lineup. We can overcommit to the Siege lineup because we have very good control of the early game.
Yes. Plus they have
So the
SG
enemy
can
reaches the
can
battlefield.
pull off
Smash
another
them.
split type
All troops
siege
deployed.
strategy. All troops deploy. Here we go. Into the Celestial Palace. Zens will be using the carry. Boom as the Kaja. Watt as the Kichango. Ateb as the Tams. And Paragon as the Valir.
EVOS Esports SG, you have Jao PL on this Rock, you have OD or Bambi on this Harriet, it's gonna be Ace on the Hylos, it's Potato on the Kimi, and Soul with this Badang.
And I like this coming in from EVOS SG. immediately going to the shocker to get the blue buff. And, well, they will give it to Oh Dear Bambi. Same goes for Impunity KH, but that is the defense coming in from EVOS SG.
What a wall. What a wall from the Badang. They do have the damage. Shango is down for the count. Now active. Actually forced in here. The Kimi is here as well as the Harith. And we were talking about the early game potential of EVOS Esports SG. Oh man, they are dominating Impunity KH right now. I don't understand why Impunity KH chose to actually contest this immense amount of damage from EVOS SG.
And Adev, he actually got the blue shocker, but that was indeed a waste of time as he dies 2-0 for the side of EVOS SG, immediately controlling the first 2 minutes of this matchup.
And they're not done. They want to go with Paragon. Paragon is down for the count. You have times to defend that. But this is a level 4 Oh Dear Bambi Harith and a level 3 Badang. You cannot defend on your own.
Under a minute and 30 seconds. Right now, EVOS SG, they can go for tower dives like this. That is the pressure and the tension for this M1 contenders, EVOS SG.
We are talking about the potential of the Hylos plus
Kimi.
The Kimi pick. And we can dare say that this is proving to be a great control of the early game. Look at this. 6.4k gold already up for EVOS SG.
Yep.
And only 4.2k for Impunity KH.
Oh my.
This is not good at all from the Cambodians.
Oh my, yes, you are exactly right. As the first circle will go to the side of EVOS SG. And Team Impunity KH. Man, the carry right now, Zenz, will have a hard time in getting his first item. He will actually go for a mask play.
Yeah.
Because of the delay he has. Man, 1k on the pockets of this carry. Plus, this is the second rotation of the objectives. And this is another invade. Man, EVOS SG repelling Impunity KH from getting all of this buffs.
But they did punish that this time. That Norse Path is gonna be used. They take out the Kaja this time. Hotline Inferno completed by the task, but the Kimi is here. The Grok falls, but it doesn't matter. There's a 2-for-2 trade. Ultimate coming out from the Badang. Zenz is gonna be not gonna have a good problem this time. But of course, Soul overextending himself.
But the objective was to get the blue buff, and what neglecting that for the side of EVOS SG. So what an outplay coming in from team Impunity KH. That was actually a clutch block from the Grok, but it gave space to for Watt to hit all of the major showers.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of recovery from Impunity KH as they diminish the lead by just about 1,500 coming up from 2,000. Then again, EVOS SG, they cannot commit to go. They cannot be overly committing against their opponents, Impunity KH, because while it's true that they have the early game control, they cannot lose it. The moment that they give the control to Impunity KH, they will be forfeiting the mid game, which means that they will fight it hard to close out the game. You have to take note, Impunity KH, they have amazing late game potential courtesy of their carry and the Valier, and actually the Chango is a very strong hero in the late game.
Of course, the Valier can transition onto on that carry time and time again. Once again for Team EVOS SG as they will now get the second triple of the game.
So, indeed, taken by EVOS SG, we know that they have the strength in terms of taking this turtle. I have to take note, by the way, that the Retribution is not available for any player in the whole game that we have right now. So there is no Retribution play that we can get. That's why they are actually finding it hard to close out the kills on important buffs. But whoever controls the area around that buff or that objective actually wins the battle. It's gonna be Oh Dear Bambi to take it.
And man, third round of buffs taken by the side of EVOS SG. Nice wild charge right there from the Grump, and the pressure is now on as change of plans for EVOS SG. They will now go for the 5-on-5. That is the initiation from the Glorious Pathway, plus 1,000 punches from the Badang, shutting down 2 heroes. from Impunity KH and destroying the first tower of the game.
Talk about area control coming out from EVOS SG. They have the Glorious Pathway, they have the Zaman Force, then they have the Badang. Whatever it is, whatever kind of tournament they want to play into, they are committing against Impunity KH, and they are winning against them because, again, they control the area, the small area, and nobody from Impunity KH can fight under that territorial control of EVOS SG.
Controlling that narrow space, and of course, this is the first Calamity Reaper from Oh Dear Bambi. So that is his power spike. Can now take 1 versus 2 fights. And meanwhile, EVOS SG, of course, with the Badang in their lineup, they can now go for the split push play.
With the help of the Grok, they are able to take out that stir down the bottom. It's just 6 minutes in, but already EVOS SG have amassed 21,000 gold in the bank.
Quite large
at this point. And now, how can Impunity defend against this? They have to go for the defense on the bottom lane. They have to take care of the top, and they also have to take care of the mid lane. There's just so much for them to do and take care of that EVOS SG are just way too good into abusing this kind of advantage
they are punishing right now. Ladies and gentlemen, that is another glorious pathway from AC, and they will immediately back off as they will get another objective, and probably the third tower in the top lane. That is the second tower in the mid lane, uncontested. The turtle is open, but Impunity KH, they are trapped within their base.
And it's just 7 minutes and 30 seconds in. We were talking about the advantage of EVOS SG in the early game, and they are not disappointing us this time. EVOS SG, they're also taking the buffs. They've already taken the buff in the top lane. Now the bottom lane as well. Wild Charge to initiate with this. Ultimate from, of course, the Badang. No kill whatsoever, but they will tank the Meteor Shower.
Lots of ultimates missing right here. This is the opportunity for Impunity KH
with the block
to get back, but nice block onto the carry. He does have the Phantom Step to get out, but 10-4 is the score. Another opening for EVOS SG.
We saw a little bit of nice combo in there from the Grok and the Hylos. When the Glorious Pathway is already laid down, you put the Guardian's Barrier on the end so that your opponents will not be able to escape. Unfortunately for EVOS SG, they did not take advantage of it just because they don't really want to be overly aggressive against their opponents.
Yes,
which is the right decision at this point.
They're just making the right decisions, and of course the discipline from EVOS SG. We've seen this in game number 1. They know their capabilities, they know when to fight, and they know when to take objectives. An open Lord, a free one for the taking for the Singaporean team, as Hylos will backs out all of their opponents. He will die, but that is an exchange for the Lord. 10-6, and they will just wait for this Lord buff to come in.
2 kills in exchange for the Lord. I think EVOS SG are happy to take that kind of trade. They still lead by 9,000 and almost 10,000 if they do force out their opponents into committing in the next coming clash. You have to take note, the Grok is already available with the classic build. Going for the rapid boots into the Athena shield. This is such classic because you know what they do with the Groks this time? They go for a courage mask, complete it before actually completing your boots, and then go for no Athena shield at all. And what you do is use the Guardian's Barrier to actually delay the Lord.
But right now they do have the lead, so I think he went for that classic build. As you've said, this is the first Lord of the game, but EVOS SG will just give this away. They're waiting for their course to get the blue, but still the pressure is on the side of Impunity KH. They don't have enough damage to deal with the Grok right now. Grok is just too confident to man up all of these heroes from Impunity KH. They are now entering and knocking at the doors of Impunity KH, destroying another tower.
The tower has been destroyed. There's going to be the Divine Judgment, but Harden's still alive. Ashen escapes. No, the Meteor Shower able to close him out. Now, where will EVOS SG fight once more? The top lane has already been destroyed. And onto the bottom, a little bit of pressure. There's a big cannon, a big minion down the bottom, courtesy of the Lord buff.
Yep.
EVOS SG, how will they utilize this?
This is the Kimi damage that they've been looking for. EVOS SG, man, half held here from coming in from the area. Another girl's pathway. Phantom stepping in for Mr. Zenz. 2 heroes falling down for the side of EVOS SG. They will now go for the disengage and nice outplay and pick off for the side of Impunity KH. Ateb still wants more, still finding heroes, but they will just back away.
Now, very nice usage of the meteor shower to actually fend up the members of EVOS Esports SG. We talked about how important having the range against your opponents and the damage as well.
Yep.
With the meteor shower. You saw even the Lord melts against the Chango as well as the other members of EVOS Esports SG.
But again, that is just level 1 Lord, and this is the Kimi taking time bomb, as we said, from the side of EVOS SG. But again, discipline is the name of the game for this team. They don't want any clash. They're just hoping for an outplay. Impunity KH, like what you've said, carry can shut down everyone, even Zhao PL. Plus, there is the threat of the Divine Judgment onto the Meteor Shower. So I do feel that for the side of the carries of EVOS SG, Kimi and Carry needs to be very careful.
And you have to be also smart about how you approach this if you're EVOS SG. Because your lineup, your strength has an expiration date.
Yes.
As longer the game goes, you want Impunity KH to be favored because of the fact that they have the carry and the Chango.
Yep.
But EVOS SG, they still have plenty of time to work with. It's
Yeah.
still 12 minutes in, and they've already shoved the top lane, already took out the inhibitor in the top lane, and they still have control of the map at this point.
They need to build Athena Shield right now in order for them to soak up lots of damage from coming in from Watt and coming in from the Valir, because they're having a hard time due to the fact that Team Impunity KH has the spam mechanic. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, Team EVOS Esports SG forcing themselves into the mid lane. I do feel that they need to go back to the play that they have earlier at game number 1. Bait the Glorious Pathway and let Impunity KH go all out, use the Divine Judgment, and bait all of the skills that they have.
But what is happening right now is that EVOS SG, they're doing what they did in terms of taking the first Lord. This time though, the full cavalry from Impunity KH is here. They try to force this one out. Potato, as well as the Harith from Modi or Bambi, they're taking care of business in this Lord take.
It's taking a long time.
Taking a long time indeed.
Yeah,
They
long
don't
time.
have retribution, by the way.
No time retribution. Here we go. 4 men.
Oh!
The 1,000 punches from the Verdan taking down one. Ladies and gentlemen, here comes another Zaman Force, and that is a V
Oh my
from
goodness!
the map. And what? Nice block coming in from the Grok. The Grok block is just too real right now for Team EVOS Esports SG.
And I think the Grok deserves that double kill after, of course, landing the good Guardian's barrier. But talk about EVOS SG just using the Badang and the Terran to actually take out the members of Impunity KH.
And we were wrong. Team EVOS Esports SG taking game number 2 and winning the series. They will now have 3 points.
3 points in the bank for EVOS SG after falling in the first series. This time against Impunity KH. They are able to land the clean 2-0. Game number 2, we talked about the draft. We did mention that they have very strong control of the early game. And boy, did they not disappoint.
Man, the first 2 minutes was indeed a clear win for EVOS Esports ESG, getting the blue buff,
Oh my goodness.
forcing Team Impunity KH to contest with their blue themselves. But man, EVOS Esports SG knows this. And man, as we look at the post stats, EVOS SG with a redemption play coming in from the series number 1, AC was your MVP of that game.
Oh yeah. Oh dear, Bambi is there. You can see the Harith with playing so well. They have ace on, of course, this Hylos. But overall, this is like a game of drafts where it's just that EVOS SG, their early game, cannot be contested by the lineup of their opponents.
Yeah.
There's just way too much control.
Way too much
You
control.
have the Hylos and the Grok. You have the Kimi. And even in the first minute where Impunity KH tried to go for the play, for the invade play, they failed horribly. And this is actually the replay that we're gonna see. even with just the usage of their or level 1 and level 2 skills,
Yep.
the first blood already went in favor. The two kills in actually, in fact, and you see EVOS SG
Yeah.
control the early game so well.
And they know the timings of the buff. As we can see, before even the buff spawns, they're immediately there. They're just setting up every objective that they need to get.
Yeah.
And man, oh dear Bambi, this is a very scary Harriet
Harriet.
game
Yeah.
for him.
But there's a lot of fight onto Impunity KH. We saw it happening, but the we see how strong it could be. This is a very, very good fight. Look at this. They use the Terran and the ultimate, the clutch. A very nice ultimate.
Yeah.
Only needed one hero with the Demon Hunter sword on the Badak. It's more than enough damage. And the flicker into the wild charge play and the Guardian's barrier. The Grok is doing everything this game.
2 walls for the side of EVOS Esports SG to lock down Impunity KH and shut them down and getting this game. The Grok block and of course the Badang ultimate.
Oh man.
Man,
The double wall.
the double wall combination, yeah.
The Great Wall of SG.
The Great Wall of Singapore
No,
is
wait.
in town.
Definitely. You know what? If you think about the lineup of Impunity KH, there's a lot of potential for them to win in the late game. Unfortunately, there's just way too much control
Yeah.
coming up from EVOS Sports SG. You saw very, very well how they performed in that match.
And it looks like EVOS Esports SG are well prepared
They are
coming into M1 as we are seeing these types of strategies, the split strat,
Yeah.
the early siege, the early objective strat with the jungle buff.
Oh yeah.
Man, Esports SG, I do feel that they are the team to watch for
Yeah.
in
for
this M1.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Alright.
we will know for sure more about the players as I think we have a courtside report in here.
And I'm here with EVOS SG Soul, and I'm going to give him a couple of questions here because you guys just came off of a very clean 2-0 against Impunity. How do you guys kind of feel about your performance overall against this team?
I would say it's not exactly clean because we could have ended both games much earlier. But we definitely feel good because we just lost to RQ and this 2-0 is much needed to get back our momentum.
So, in terms of Group A, out of all the teams, who do you think is like your biggest competition so far? And do you think there are any resident sleepers within Group A that we should be like worried about, or you guys feel like you're most worried about?
I know most people maybe they don't know much about the Vietnam team, but in the pro player scene they are very well known. So they are, I would say, the dark horse because they are a M1 qualifier team instead of an MPL team. So Vietnam is definitely a team to watch out for.
So what exactly happened? What was there like a transition between when you were up against RQ and Impunity to something like? Do you guys needed that initial warm up to like get the gears running? What exactly happened between those two games? Because you guys definitely looked a little different, especially in this series compared to your previous one.
I mean, I would say RQ and Impunity are both good teams, but maybe we were a bit sluggish early in the morning, and the atmosphere wasn't very good. It wasn't hyped up. We were not eager to win, and it changed in the game against Impunity. So I believe the atmosphere change will do us a big favor.
I see. Thanks, Soul. All right, that's it for Soul here. Thank you guys for watching, and we're gonna throw it back over to the casters.
Thank you so much, Gideon, and that is EVOS Esports SG having 3 points in this group stages of our format.
I like the straight up answers from Seoul.
Yeah.
That they needed that kind of confidence boost because in their previous match, it was a 2-0 by RQ. They were defeated, and they mentioned they were sluggish during that series, and it looked like that way.
Like that way, yeah.
Yeah, they were totally
it's quite
different.
early. It's quite early.
It's
early.
very
It's
early.
early.
I guess they did not have their coffee just
Yes,
yet. They
yes.
haven't woken up.
Oh,
Maybe
yes,
this
yes.
time they are ready
Yeah.
for Impunity KH.
They are indeed ready, and man, it's looking like a good matchup for RRQ. And EVOS SG, and of course the remaining teams
Yeah, remaining
in
teams.
this bracket. Of course, catch every battle, stream like Ray, get unlimited data for all apps with Giller Unlimited GX30 only with U Mobile.
Oh yeah. Oh, so now that we have seen that last series, we now move on to our fourth series. It's gonna be Impunity KH once again. They're gonna be going up against the Vietnamese.
The Vietnamese
That
team.
is gonna be a hype match for sure.
Yeah.
Both teams fighting for their chance to at least stay in this
The tournament.
competition, get to the playoffs. Really wanted to close the one, so it's gonna be really, really intense
Yep.
for the team. That has been our cast for that series. Your casters, Manjin and Wolf, The Connection. We will be back for you, so don't go away.
They told us that it's just a game. That nothing will ever come out of it. That it won't bring us fame or glory. That it won't make our country proud. They told us to stop wasting our time. Well, let them say all they want. We'll prove it to them. We'll be the champions. Mobile Legends Bang Bang World Championship 2019 M1.
You may have been denied. You may have hit rock bottom. You may have been craving for the lights. Now, all strive for one goal. Do you have what it takes to be a champion worthy of the highest glory?
iya. Apa tau yang kode dia no, dia ada.
You may have been denied. You may have hit rock bottom. You may have been craving for the lights. Now, all strive for one goal. Do you have what it takes to be a champion worthy of the highest glory?
Welcome back, everybody, to the MLBB World Championship, otherwise known as M1 Group Stages. Live here today, my name is Gideon Q, together with Icy Baby 1-2. We're going to be your casters for this upcoming game. Ooh, it's going to be a spicy one.
Exactly. Before we head into the game here, I want to tell you guys a little bit secret here, because why? You can catch every battle stream like Cray, get unlimited for all apps with Gila Unlimited GX30, and also only on Mobile. But speaking of the game here, Impunity here. I don't know, man. Impunity KH, you felt like a little bit off here. They got taken out 2-0 in a row, but hopefully they'll be able to pick up themselves here, to gather themselves and pick up this fight. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, honestly, let's go into the draft pick and talk a little bit more about this team, because right now we saw EVOS Esports. They lost to RRQ in their first 0-2, and now they got a 2-0. Same recipe might actually work out for Impunity. Impunity, you know, all right, we've dropped the series. We need the points now. It kind of puts you into the mood, gets the gears going. Could just be, you know, a little bit of a momentum.
Yeah, momentum-wise,
right? Yeah, to kind of work out the fingers, get the warm-up going.
We've talked about the first match, right? First match is always like VFM. You know, they went head-to-head against RRQ. They took one game as well, almost closing out the last game against RRQ. And this game, do you think that, based on the experience they had from RRQ, will they play better against Immunity, or do you think they have a little bit of a lack in terms of morale here?
Honestly, I think they're just very comfortable in their own skin right now. They play their own game. They know what they want exactly. Their picks and bans are just kind of on point here, getting rid of all the S tier picks. You know that they have a good idea, good grasp of what the meta is coming into the first pick as well. But I think VFM, as we heard Soul mention, these guys are the dark horses, and they are good. And in the pro scene, people know who these guys are.
Oh yeah, they're definitely scary here. But Masha kind of slid off here, and yep, VFM they're instantly picking up the Masha. But at the same time, I think VFM as well, they prioritize first betting the Baxia as well, which is kind of surprising. Like RRQ and VFM, they have a different kind of priorities compared to what Impunity and EVOS SG kind of have as well. So Masha first pick. What are your thoughts on Masha? You saw 2 games already. I also actually saw one. No, you actually casted 1 game in Masha. What are your thoughts on the Masha thing?
Overall, I think Masha is just a, you know, stick in the dirt. Really, really annoying. It's good, but it's super frustrating to deal with overall, especially if you leave her to do her own biddings here. Coming into this game, Impunity not going to have their hands onto the side of Masha, but they will pick up Valir. Most likely going to be in that support position more than the main mage after the nerfs. VFM, on the other hand, looks like they have a pretty solid lineup for now, but now how do they kind of want to prepare for the second phase of the pick and bans?
Oh yeah, speaking of second phase, Chang'e gonna be picked here from the side of VFM, and it's worked out in a way, you know, just to counter off with the Valor pickup here. I think before the couple patches back, like before they nerf Valor, you know, Chang'e was kind of the picture to do with Valor, right?
Yeah.
But now Valor is kind of like nerfed a little bit here. I'm surprised people are still thinking like, you know, do you go for Chang'e or do you go for Gord? We see occasionally Gord being picked here from the side of RQ, which worked out, but I don't know. It feels like it might be a fake here coming from Impunity. It might be like support.
I do feel like it's more of the support position, and that's why VFM is very confident in locking in the Chang'e, because Lolita is still the counter pick.
Oh,
and they're probably not going to ban out the Lolita as well. They're probably going to leave it up, because then their composition is like, oh, you have a mage who, in most cases, sort of outranges you, but I have the Chang'e anyway, and if Lolita's out of the picture, or if you pick Lolita now, we still have options to counterpick with our secondary, support or tank in the second pick ban phase.
Yeah, definitely. And at the same time as well, I think Impunity and EVOS had a very similar situation as well. They picked the Valor as a support, right? But their main tank is kind of like a Kaja instead of a
Your
Grok.
team is
So I feel like the
Yeah.
Grok would be much better from the side of Impunity. So I think it will work out compared to the games
Your
against
team
EVOS
is
actually from the side of
picking.
Impunity. So in this case, like you said as well, we called out the Lolita. So definitely a safer pick here from the side of
Carry.
VFM. And Carry will be picked instead. So finally here, Esmeralda as well,
Esmeralda.
just to soak up those shields
Your
keep
team
being dished
is
out from the side of
picking.
Lolita. So last pick here. What's gonna be the carry here? Are we gonna see like a Bruno, like how EVOS SG does? I don't think so, right? Kimi? Maybe a Kimi?
Here's where it gets a little bit awkward because again, both teams are doing the exact same thing. They have options for marksmen, but the real question is whether or not they're going to lock in the Granger. Yep, it's going to be the Granger. But yeah, both teams definitely did the exact same thing where it's like, hey, we have a particular counter pick that's really difficult to deal with, but if we take it for ourselves, we don't have to worry about it. So
Fair
they
enough.
picked up Lolita, and on the side, oh, Grok is very easily dealt with carry. We're just going to pick carry for ourselves. So, two flips here. Both sides want to do the same thing. The question is, who can perform better?
Ooh, based on the drops here, who do you like more?
Personally, I'm kind of liking VFM's drop just a little bit more, only because you have better options with the Masha. It kind of opens up the map a little bit more. Grok, yes, you do have great wave clear, but unless he itemizes very quickly into that Athena shield, level 4 is going to be pretty devastating.
Oh yeah, I feel like I definitely like VFM more as well, just because of the tank as well. Like in terms of tank composition, Valor is not exactly from the side of Impunity. I mean, from the side of Impunity, the tank coming from Valor isn't that tanky as compared to what Hylos and I think Lolita was just contributing to the overall team in general.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, like Hylos is like, hey, you dish out our spells, yeah, revitalize heals, no problem.
I think that's where Valor is like. He's not there to, obviously he has a lot of damage.
Yeah.
I think that's a given. But when you're up against a Hylos, I think the most important thing is to kind of keep the team at a specific distance.
Yeah.
And I think that's his most admirable attribute. So he comes in, Glorious Pathway. He starts running it down, and you're like, you know what? How about you sit right there? Put the wall up, put the push on as well, get the empowerment. Really, it's a really effective way to keep them at bay. But let's begin this game. Game 1 between Impunity versus VFM. Let's see how this plays out.
Well, it's going to be a pride thing right here because VFM currently, they are leading in terms of points here just because of the games they have played, right? This is their second series for them here. They've got 1 point against RRQ. If they take this 2-0, this is going to be a pretty good lead for them, but they're going to be competing for the start for the World Cup. However, Dini here getting poked a little bit. How things are going to go here, Gideon?
Yeah, I think Dini, he's having the time of his life. It's like, yeah, sure, you can chunk me out. It really doesn't matter. Oh, but Lucky, on the other hand, looks like they wanted to kind of prevent the initial invade, but I think this is super smart because, again, though it is happening on the top side, Impunity goes instantly for the counter jungle as well. They basically lose absolutely nothing except their life totals, and overall, I think Vec Fantasy kind of lose out in terms of profit just because of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a trade-off here between both sides, so nothing much yet here, but you can see that VFM, they want to prioritize this Masha farm here and get a couple of levels. He's going to dish him all the way by himself. I believe he has a Wooden Master of himself just to get that additional XP later on, just because he's soaking a lot of this gold here, so they're going to be pressuring from bottom side. However, VFM, before the 3-minute mark, they're going to be pressuring the top tier 1.
This is really, really smart. Looking at the battle spells, everything looks okay. Looks like Atav is going for the arrival as well. Doesn't look like he wants to pop it anytime soon to kind of protect that top side. He knows it's not going to go down just yet. But they put so much damage, especially when they hit that level 4. And this is exactly what I was talking about. Meteor Shower, Death Sonata, ATV, he plays it really well. Goes a lot of sidestepping. Molten Sights to kind of give him that speed boost to kind of dodge it. But on the opposite side of that, Impunity won't go down without a reply.
Yeah, but at the same time, they want to go for the trade-off. However, I don't think they can go for it. Like you said as well, the fall, the bot bash as well, the falling Moon Star coming from behind as well. What? Going to give chase, but unfortunately, they can't seem to take down the high loss. Overextension here coming from Impunity. However, they will not get the tier 1 here because VFM, they want to punish it here from the sides. Not going to be it going for the wraparound, but they committed so much spells there. They want to try and contest the turtle right now.
Yeah, and Masha is still just going to have the time of her life. She doesn't need to be part of this fight, but she decides to go, and it looks like that backline is going to have a lot of trouble. T-Max, he's taking quite a bit of damage here, but the backline high loss is going to be the first blood of choice, but Watt is so out of position with the rest of his team to back him up and push
VFM into their jungle.
Numenon Blast!
It's gonna be A-OK, but watch Mikey going down. He manages to survive. The Revitalize is enough to keep him up. Hyde goes down. Instead, Impunity win the trade-off.
Well, I did not expect that here. I thought VFM was going to be pretty much taking that fight here. After they took the turtle fight, they've lost a couple members here. This was pretty much the recap here. Look at this. You know, the Numenon Blast looks so legit, but as soon as the Riders popped up, they reset the fight. Changi couldn't exactly do much just because they committed the meteor shower a little bit too early here for the turtle buff.
Yeah, I think they need to kind of play a slower paced game, especially from Impunity. Just because Vec is slightly ahead, but they're more prone to making a mistake if they play this slow. Now look at this. They're going straight for the dive, and Lucky, he wants to lock them down. They want to break that turret and then go for the dive. And Teeny, he's already got 3 bars of health. They realize this. They pull back. They're like, no. And this is what I'm talking about slow play. They don't need to force the dive. They just need to focus on the objectives.
Oh, I like what VFM is doing here. If you notice what's going on, right? Lucky and Who is just buying their time here. And while on the top side here, ATV is the one going to be get picked off. And if you pay attention here, VFM has done at least 2 or 3 stallings here where they just hold Impunity at downside for like about a good solid total of 1 minute now. And because of that, they were able to allow the Masha just free farm his way to build up an economy. And because of that, VFM now is currently leading by a 2k gap.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really important gap here because Masha is going to be very crucial to putting pressure here. Oh, Lucky. He's in so much trouble and he knows it. He knows he's going down. Great Guardian barrier coming in from Boom. Completely locks him off.
Yep, nicely done. At the same time here, they've got those objectives. Will they be able to capitalize on a couple of towers here? Because Masha is going to do what Masha's going to do best, but Boom! Unfortunately, gets caught out. Numenon Blast Biz committed meteor shower as well. Unfortunately, they will disengage from side Impunity, but great stuff here from VFM. But on the bottom side, Masha solo killing Paragon.
Yeah, that shouldn't have happened. That definitely shouldn't have happened. Now VFM is going to take this lead and push it down Impunity. See how far they can take this away. They're trying to clear this way, but they're going to get a good amount of damage onto that mid-tier 1. It breaks as soon as the Siege Minion goes down, and Zenz has to back off.
Well, now Glorious Pathway being expanded as well. VFM, they want to go for the objectives. Turtle buff is going to be the key here, and this is where they're going to try and put the turtle buff up on Brawly here, where this Granger is going to come online here to try to build up some of the economy with the Bounty Hunter. However, Impunity not giving up yet here. VFM, you can see Lucky going to try and buy a little bit of time here. However, the Guardian's Barrier is there. How are they going to find this here? Doesn't connect. What? Doesn't want to exactly come in, but the Numenon Blast connects on 3. Here comes the follow-up. The Revitalize is there, and Impunity, they will try and disengage here, but what? He's gonna try and come in here, he's gonna go for a back, but the Granger comes in with a killing spree. T-Max almost dropping a little bit low here, but here comes CD from the side. Masha gets 1, gets 2, he's looking for another one. Tamus, where he survived this, unfortunately he gets shut down from ATEV.
But overall, oh, even better, it's gonna be a 4-for-1 trade. This is just so worth it for Vec Fantasy main. They're having the time of their lives, and the goal difference continues to extend. 5k at 5 minutes is a huge deal for this team, and not to mention that they're going to snowball this even further.
As Contra always says, my oh my, what is going on? And now the buff is going to be up for contestments as well from side of VFM. Impunity, can they contest this hero? Boom, he's not being able to do so much here. We saw a couple catches here coming from the Grok as well as the Valor here. Unfortunately, they don't exactly have the burst damage. They're a little bit afraid here, but VFM, they have the upper hand. The double tanks, as like you said as well, the Lolita shields are doing fantastically well in these kind of situations.
Yeah, and what's really frustrating, especially if you're in Impunity's position, like all this entire situation is caused. Oh, Numenon Blast is actually going to go through, but Watt forced to use the Falling Star move to get out of there. And Lucky, he just pops the Glorious Pathway just to make sure, like, all right, just in case you mess up, I'm ready to pounce on you.
Yeah, that's just really scary. Like, it's like multi AoEs here with slow and top of the stacks here. That they're thinking like 2 steps ahead from side VFM. They're playing it so well. And look at this. Hyde, we're gonna be starting out with the Meteor Shower. Oh, they don't even need a stun or setup. Just Meteor Shower follows his way through. Carry goes down as well. The Masha will get the kill. And ATV, this time from the side of Impunity, will join the fight. They will take a tier 2 from the side of VFM, and they're thinking about closing up the tier 3s now.
Yeah, oh man, especially with such a lead. Look at Hyde. I mean, his ultimate is every 12 seconds at this point. Again, with the Meteor Shower, he chunks 1 down. Watt's in trouble now, takes a full Destinata to the face. Instantly goes down with a final shot coming in from Broly. Lucky, he's just biding his time. He knows he can't get out of this.
Oh wow, VFM, they're just shutting down Impunity all the way through. 10k net worth gap, a little bit stopped here in terms of economy as well, and I'm not sure how they're going to be able to build their economy here, but let's take a look at a replay of what exactly happened here. They were like 2 men down, Grog went in for the wall chant, unfortunately wasn't able to take down the Masha in time, unfortunately gets picked off from the Granger, who if I'm not mistaken, had the turtle buff and initially here, which does a lot of pure damage, which is one of the downfalls here from side Impunity KH.
I think what Impunity is struggling to deal with right now is just hide. Because even though Broly does have a lot of damage, you can kind of sidestep the abilities, but if you take just even a little bit of damage, or stay within the Meteor Shower for even 2 seconds, you pretty much lost half your HP.
Yeah.
And that's kind of an issue because you don't have an assassin on your side to take care of her. You don't even have someone who can go for a side flank.
Well, speaking of which here now, Masha is just baiting his way through. Here comes the Meteor Shower. You're talking about 2 seconds, right? That's about 3 seconds, and he's down. He gets the mega kill, and now the Numinum Blast tries to go for the zone. Unfortunately, doesn't connect on anyone here. What? He tries to make a play. Esmeralda, he doesn't seem to have the damage output to work with, and ATEV is gonna go for Cry Sticker, and that's about all Impunity KH can do for this match now.
Remember, this is only 8 minutes into the game, and they already have such a big lead. At least 12k ahead. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. One of the biggest leads we've seen in Group A so far. One more time! The Meteor Shower of Paragon is able to flicker on out there, pops the Revitalize just to make sure he survives a little bit longer.
That's a close call there, unfortunately here, but look at this Zed. He's taking on here. Where's the flicker? He connects, doesn't even connect, but is gonna go down. The Croc is down again 3 times in a row. No thanks to you. T-Max is gonna try and back off a little bit here, but here comes the Meteor Shower as well. Once again, takes him down high. He's gonna go for more, but from the side, Brawny flickers forward, shuts out the players from side Impunity KH. Here comes the Esmeralda, but the Crystal is gonna be the objective here from the Masha. TD, a little bit too greedy, gets taken down for Thomas, but unfortunately, doesn't even matter why, because they got a team wipe from the side of VFF. The Crystal is exposed. What can Boom do now?
Yeah, the death timers are too long. This game has to go over to VFM, and they're doing a really, really good job. I mean, Boom, he's trying to direct the wave to make sure they have a little bit more time, but it's not going to be enough. VFM come up on top with a very convincing game 1.
Yeah, very, very convincing indeed here. All the way through, they understood the timings here, but one was a crucial factor. It was like the timings, the understanding as well, the teamworks. The Numinum Blast on top of the Glorious Pathway from behind. It's like, hey, if you don't get stunned, I'm going to make sure you get slowed. So in case my team dives in, let's go. You know, just going to go jump in. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and it feels like they have a perfect understanding as well, and the communication level as well. You saw that bottom engagement, like, hey, why do you throw the Glorious Pathway? You called it out as well. Hey, there's only 2 guys. Where do you go? They took the tier 1. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
But the reason was actually they're buying time for the Masha to actually split push.
He wasn't doing much. He was just kind of surviving as long as possible, and he managed his life total extremely well, using that passive effectively, making sure he always had something in his hand. Whenever it's off cooldown, use it. All right, lose a little bit of health, go back to that 3-bar status instead of the 2-bar or the 1-bar where you're in range of dying.
Yeah, before that, let's take a look at the highlights here by you. Mobile, but as of now, you can see starting off the fight here, it was a pretty close call, but Impunity was the one starting out, getting the first blood after they went in for the turtle buff here. But as they're farming in the middle stage of the game, but as the game progressed, I feel like it was tough. Like, it was tough for them because VFM was just constantly split pushing all the way through.
I think what Impunity needed to do was to be very skill matchup, but for the most part, they didn't do it. Damos kept going up to the top side, kept getting punished by 4 people kind of roaming up top, or at least 3 people with 2 big ultimates with the Death Sonata. The moment you get hit by 1, the Meteor Shower comes through, and you're basically guaranteed to die. There's not a lot of counterplay to that.
Yeah, when you brought up a point towards rotating to the top, right? One thing I really liked is that the pre-3 minute mark, right? Usually a tier 1 has this additional buffer.
Yes.
They took down the tower relatively early. They took advantage of the situation. They made sure that whoever is down below, they stalled their way through, and whoever tries to overextend their push to try and farm on the top side, right, will immediately get punished because there was a lack of the presence of the tier 1 up top.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really important, and I think a lot of teams kind of understand that your tier 1s, out of all your turrets, your tier 2s, basically free goal for the most part. Your tier 1s are one of the most important towers besides your inhibitors, because that just gives you so much vision line. But we're going to be moving on to the next game really, really soon here, and I think we need to question whether Impunity has what it takes to take on VFM. let's go into the draft.
Yeah, speaking of drafts here, I like you mentioned about tier 1 as well. The tier 1 tower is kind of like a map control for the team, right?
Exactly.
It's like your extension of your invisible arms in the game itself. Like without those arms, you can't exactly roam around freely and just not get punished.
Exactly, and I think that's a really important thing for a lot of these teams. Looking here, it kind of brings up the question whether siege comps is a viable option, which it sort of is, if only it scales better towards the late game. We've seen a couple of heroes who look like they're really good in siege comps, but just don't scale that well. Who knows? Maybe some team has kind of figured out a build to kind of.
Well, that's the siege comp. Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at Chang'e. I'm looking at Gord. I'm looking
That's
at.
That's not a siege comp.
I mean, when you don't have a Masha in, you switch it out, and you kind of want to have something with strong wave clear.
Okay.
You're not looking to play make. You're just looking to destroy towers and push people out.
Fair enough. But in this case, here, Ban's pretty similar again. First base, Ban, Kufra coming in, Harif coming in from from Impunity actually.
Yep.
What's next? Do they ban off the Masha right off the bat, or are they just gonna like let Impunity play the Masha? Because I'm pretty sure they don't play the Masha.
We're just gonna actually have to wait and see. I think the Masha is a pretty interesting question for a lot of teams. I think for me, the most obvious one is get rid of your utility tanks. The Grok is put into question. The high loss as well.
Okay.
So getting rid of them, it seems to be more effective because they're usually the crux of all team compositions. You always need a tank of some sort with strong CC.
Yeah, at one point it was like the Grok and the Minotaur show, right? Now it's like the Grok and the high loss show again.
Oh man, boy, was season 2 a bad time.
However, well, the archive, I'm surprised now, like, for the first time ever coming to the war stage here, we don't see a lot of archive bans, right? Picks, yes, but bans no anymore.
I mean, personally, I feel like Akai is like
still
a
strong.
super safe version
Okay.
of Cho as well as Kaja. That's what I personally think.
True. Oh, Lolita actually getting banned here. This means they're going to be opening up the ESPORT, the Kaja. What else is open? Rock?
I think, yeah.
Not off the bat, but at least a good win ratio. Like a percentage for me so far, I've played in my pub games, I've got like 85% on an ESPORT.
Yeah, but that's like pub games. Pub
True,
games don't really count, especially in competitive.
True.
Yep, there's the Chang'e. They were setting it up for it. The moment they banned out the Lolita, it's kind of like a big red light. It's like, my major counter pick is off the table.
Okay. But speaking of which here, yeah, I think usually when it comes to ESPORT, right, a lot of teams actually prioritize getting the Gusion to actually deal with it here. So maybe, they may not allow the Gusion to slide here because seeing how Chang'e is kind of like picked here, I don't think Impunity will play a double mage setup. But occasionally we did see RRQ and I think VFM play a double mage as well, right?
The only exception to that is when you have something like an Aurora, or in this case, what's in meta right now is the Valir, who kind of do the same thing where they have CC or some form to displace, but really well done. Oh boy, this is taking me back. I'm having nostalgia here. A lot of teams, Akai, Kaja, just everywhere in season 2. It feels good to see them coming back here, and a lot of teams kind of revert to something that's safe, like the Akai, because if you play something like Cho, you mess up one ability, it's game over.
Yeah, fair enough. But we're back here. This time it's really going to be, actually proving me wrong. They actually play the Masha priority. So the Masha is going to be picked up here. Same goes for the Chang'e here. Just because they ban on Lolita, this makes it really nice. But from the side of VFM, do they play it like having a Gord or a Valir here to try and deal with the Chang'e? Or they just go hand straight like what, Gusion? Gusion just burst.
I think they can't pick the Valir.
Lunox, sorry, not Lunox, Lunox.
Yeah, I don't think they can go for the Valir here. I definitely feel like Lunox is a much better pick. Maybe arguably even Gusion in this case. But they're going to ban out the Valir just because Impunity has red side and they also have first pick. I think most importantly here is how is VFM going to deal with a composition? I mean, they have the 2 keystones. It's a 4-1 composition. 4 with strong wave clear. They're going to be able to zone people out. And if VFM wants to play like a pick composition to big play makes with the Hurricane Dance as well as the Divine Judgment, they're going to need something to kind of pressure Impunity in these positions.
But I agree with the Valir, right? Like, I'm not a big fan of the Valir support here, but just because they had Akai and Kaja, which is not exactly as tanky compared to Hylos and Grok, yes, it's okay. But yeah, they play Impunity pretty much show their hand as well. I think about 3 games now, they play the Valir as a support here. Yep.
Ooh, Ooh, already locking in the claw. It looks like they didn't want to act. They want to play a very safe marksman, and claw definitely fits the bill here. Grushan picked up, as mentioned. Granger, it's a no-brainer at this point. You don't need the carry, mainly because she's too short range.
Yeah.
She's not going to be able to get into Grok's face most of the time. She's going to get chunked out for the most part. And I think BFM, they knew from previous games that like, oh, it's okay, you can have the carry, I have the chunker, I can easily outrange.
Yeah, and not to mention as well, like, carry is great against hyper tanks, like super ultra tanks, like Uranus, which is not in the meta, obviously. Grok against high loss is amazing, but in this case here, Akai Kaja doesn't have that increased ridiculous max HP for the light blue mark to actually come out online relatively well scale here. So I definitely prefer the Cloud or the Granger, or maybe even the Kimi in this regard. But I'm surprised Impunity didn't go for the Kimi though. Yeah. I'm really surprised with that.
They didn't decide to go for the Kimi this time round. I think that's definitely up to team preference.
Oh yeah.
Personally, like different teams have different priorities, and some prefer Kimi, some prefer Changa. That's okay. I think the most interesting thing about this draft that Impunity decided to go with Gatot, which is interesting because he kind of denies a lot of space and has some great follow-up options just in case somebody gets caught. The question is, can they react fast enough to a lot of these, pickoffs? Yeah,
definitely here. And I'm not sure if you paid attention here. Double revitalize coming for Impunity.
I think they're.
It's nice. It's nice. It's nice, if you're just standing still. But in terms of mobility wise, I feel like BFM has so much mobility. I don't think they're just gonna be like standing still, just go on head-on fight all the way through, like just right click, physical attack, normal attack all the way through. Okay, right click is the wrong game, wrong platform.
Yep. I'm like, keep going, you're almost there, keep going down the list. But yeah, I absolutely agree here. But I think the Revitalize has to be used in, I think one particular situation